Stop chasing your dreams and start reflecting them into existence. This isn't just about positive thinking. It's a revolutionary understanding of how your inner reality directly shapes your outer world. Prepare to unlock the true power of the quantum mirror and finally manifest the future you've always envisioned. You were told reality is out there, solid, fixed, indifferent. But watch closely, life behaves more like a mirror than a wall. The quantum mirror isn't poetic fluff. It's the simplest way to describe a pattern you felt 1,000 times. Inner state first, outer outcome second. If your inner weather is stormy, the day seems to conspire with the rain. If your inner sky clears, strangers look kinder. Problems loosen at the edges, and opportunities start waving from corners you once walked past. In physics, observation changes what's measured. In life, attention changes what's possible. The point isn't to argue lab notes. It's to notice how your focus edits your day, the message you notice, the opportunity you recognize, the tone you return. Your inner world is a projector booth. Your behavior is the light. Your world is the screen. And that screen is not stubborn. It is obedient. It doesn't ask what you want most. It echoes what you are most consistently. Moment by moment, your thoughts and emotions are laying tracks ahead of you. A fearful thought whispers, and your body tightens. A generous thought rises, and conversations soften. The mirror isn't judging, it's matching. Your present signal is a request form for future scenes. That means every micro choice, where you rest your eyes, the sentence you repeat to yourself, the breath you allow or deny, etches a small line into the glass. One line is nothing. 1,000 lines become a portrait. The miracle is quiet. The way a room's meaning shifts when you shift. The way your timing improves when you stop rehearsing disaster. The way life sends you the person you needed right after you become the person who can receive them. All of it is a choreography directed by inner gravity. Gravity doesn't argue, it pulls, and your state is a gravitational field. So the question isn't, do I deserve a new reality? The question is, what am I reflecting right now? Because the mirror never argues, it returns. It returns the way you look at yourself when no one's watching. It returns the jokes you make about your potential. It returns the label you keep pinning to your chest. Chest because you forgot you can take it off. There is an invisible architecture beneath outcomes, a silent scaffolding of meanings and expectations. It is the subtle lift of your shoulders before you enter a room. The way you finish other people's sentences with your old story. The way you assume the worst to protect yourself from disappointment. None of these are crimes. They are weather patterns. But weather becomes climate when repeated, and climate raises cities or rots them. If you want the skyline to change, you change the climate. Not by force, but by frequency. You tune the inner air. Beliefs are the silent architects of your reflection. Not the slogans you post, but the sentences you repeat when no one is listening. These convictions live under the floorboards of your mind, and the mirror reads them fluently. You could declare, I am worthy 10,000 times. And if the basement hums, I am an accident, the house will still lean. Limiting beliefs are smudges on the glass. Faye, I'm always late to blessings. Faye, people like me don't catch breaks. Faye, money leaves as fast as it comes. Faye, every good thing asks for a price I can't pay. Say, Faye, if I'm seen, I'll be judged. Each line is a mold that reality dutifully pours itself into. Not because fate is cruel, but because the mirror is loyal. The mirror is a craftsman who takes your blueprint seriously, even when the blueprint is a rumor you adopted in childhood, a label handed to you in a season of fear, a verdict spoken by someone who didn't know their own reflection. Here's the subtle trap: the more a belief repeats, the more evidence you'll notice that proves it true. That evidence then reinforces the belief, echoing louder and louder, until it becomes just the way life is. But it's not. It's just the way the mirror has been instructed. Confirmation bias isn't just a term. It's a thermostat. Set it low, and you'll shiver even under a summer sun. Set it right, and winter light feels less hostile. To change a scene, you don't attack the screen. You adjust the reel. You begin to notice the phrases that animate your posture, alter your voice, steer your choices. You question the old narrator the way a director questions a script note. Who wrote that? When does it still belong in this film? The mirror doesn't need you to fight. It needs you to author. Authors don't beg the story to behave. They write a better sentence and read it aloud until the room starts to believe them. There's a moment, small and private, when you hear the belief that has lived in your bones say, "This is how it always goes," and you answer, "Not anymore." That's not defiance for show. It's the soft click of a lock finally turning. When the lock turns, hallways appear. The same life, new doorways, the same city, a different map, the same face, a different gaze. And you will feel the echo fight back. Old echoes love old rooms. They will stamp their feet with stories of disappointment and say, "Look how safe I kept you." You can thank them and retire them. Safety has a shelf life when it becomes a cage. The door swings open the moment you remember you are the one who built it. Beyond positive thinking lies alignment, where intention and emotion agree. Intention sets direction. Emotion provides voltage. When both harmonize, your signal becomes coherent, and coherent signals carry far. A scattered radio may hiss. A tuned frequency sings. Your future self is a song waiting for a clear station. Visualizing isn't daydreaming for decoration. It's a broadcast. Specific, vivid imagery organizes your nervous system around a destination. How you stand, how you speak, what you tolerate, what you bless. Your brain doesn't merely file images, it rehearses identities, and identities have gravity. If you rehearse an identity often enough, your body begins to memorize it the way a dancer memorizes steps. You stop moving like an imposter. You start moving like someone who belongs. Prep-paving is subtle, almost shy. It's not stomping a demand into the ground. It's composing a mood ahead of time. It's deciding before the meeting that you will be the calm in the room instead of the storm. The room tries to hand you. It's arriving in tomorrow with a tone that tomorrow cannot help but harmonize with. People call it luck. It is actually an introduction. You introduced your future self to the moment before the moment introduced itself to you. Notice how the world treats someone who has stabilized a signal. They do not need to argue their role. The room arranges around their clarity. They do not need to inflate. Their presence is density without noise. They do not chase moments. Moments arrive looking for them like iron filings drawn to a magnet they can't see but cannot ignore. This is not arrogance, it is congruence. Arrogance shouts because it doubts. Congruence whispers because it knows. The more congruent you become, the less you negotiate your identity with temporary scenes. Distraction loses its teeth. Temptation loses its glitter. Your yes becomes strong and small. Your no becomes kind and clean. Your future self isn't a fantasy figure in the distance. It's a pattern waiting to be stabilized. Every time you choose the thought that belongs to them, the feeling that belongs to them, the boundary that belongs to them, the mirror tilts, and the horizon tilts with it. 1 degree today becomes a coastline tomorrow. 1 word today becomes a marriage or a mission next year. The mathematics of small shifts are ruthless in your favor when you stay steady. There is a moment in the becoming when you feel the old world loosen. The compliments you used to crave feel like sugar, light, quick, unnecessary. The criticisms you feared become feedback. Useful or discardable, never identity. You begin to recognize the season by the root, not the weather. You stop asking, "Will I be chosen?" and start asking, "Am I choosing as the one who's already chosen?" That is the quantum blueprint, a life that builds from the inside out. Brick by brick, belief by belief, breath by breath, until the architecture of the inner world becomes the skyline everyone can see. Think tuning forks. Strike one, the other hums. Resonance is why gratitude before the evidence isn't delusion. It's calibration. When you generate the feeling your outcome would create, you become resonant with it. The mirror doesn't deliver because you beg. It delivers because you match. Matching is not pretending. Matching is remembering. It is remembering what peace feels like long enough that chaos becomes a guest who knows not to linger. Abundance is a signal long before it's a number. Peace is a signal before it's a schedule. Love is a signal before it's a relationship status. Broadcast first and watch coincidence start spelling your name correctly. The email arrives randomly. The seat opens next to the exact person. A sentence in a book fluoresces like a sign. You could call it fate, or you could admit that you finally tuned. People often ask, where does action fit? Here, alignment is not a substitute for action. It's what makes action obvious. Once the signal is clear, the next step rarely hides. A name comes to mind. An email drafts itself. A risk stops feeling like danger and starts feeling like accuracy. That's not magic, that's reciprocity. The mirror guides motion by removing static. If you've ever wasted weeks circling a decision, you know what static costs alignment. Repays the debt in minutes. Here's the paradox: when you're tuned, effort stops tasting like struggle. You still work. You just stop pushing against your own current. You trade friction for flow. Your feet still move, but now the ground cooperates. The path feels less like forcing a door and more like recognizing a hallway you somehow missed every day you were in a hurry. Reciprocity also looks like timely endings. When you tune to the next chapter, the last chapter loses its magnet. People and patterns that once held you like gravity become optional, not because they're evil, because they no longer rhyme with the poem you're writing. You can bless them without keeping them. You can release without bitterness. The mirror respects clean endings. It has no interest in hostage situations. What about setbacks? In resonance, a setback is not a verdict. It's a metronome. It keeps time with your intention. If a door closes, it closes cleanly. If a delay appears, it appears with a lesson tucked into the fold. You read the lesson, not as punishment, but as precision. Increase patience by 2 beats. Strengthen boundary by 1 notch. Replace this sentence with that one, and then remarkably, the hallway widens. This is the reciprocity of a universe that listens to coherence. Coherence is not perfection, it is consistency. It is the habit of returning to signal even when noise demands a speech. The quantum mirror isn't a trick to pull once, it's a relationship to tend. Some days the glass gleams, some days it fogs. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. The point is not perfect weather. The point is consistent climate. Climates are built by patterns, not by one dramatic sunrise. Doubt will knock. Resistance will perform. They're not omens. They're old echoes checking if you're still available. You aren't not today. You're busy becoming congruent. Congruence is when your words, your tone, your choices, and your silent assumptions stop contradicting one another. When that happens, the world stops squinting at you. It knows who's speaking. It begins to treat you the way you treat you. Patience is not waiting without movement. It's moving without panic. Delay isn't denial. It's development. There are scenes the mirror won't return until your character can carry them. Not as punishment, out of wisdom. Some blessings arrive only when you've become a match for keeping them. A promotion without identity becomes stress. A platform without roots becomes wind. A relationship without coherence becomes theater. The mirror wants sustainability, not spectacle. You'll know you're sustaining when simple things become holy. Again, how you end your day, how you begin your morning. The sentence you choose when you could choose a complaint. The email you write in your true tone, instead of the tone that bribes approval. You'll know you're sustaining when you stop needing to narrate your growth and start living it so steadily that your calendar notices. Expect the old soundtrack to play occasionally in the background. Let it. Background music loses power when foreground truth is loud enough. Your foreground truth is this: I reflect what I stabilize. So stabilize peace, even when noise is fashionable. Stabilize clarity, even when confusion is trending. Stabilize generosity, even when scarcity makes the news. The mirror is not moved by headlines. It is moved by hymns. Sustaining also means learning the art of clean self-correction. Not the drama of shame, but the dignity of adjustment. That sentence didn't reflect my standard. Try again. That tone came from fear. Reset. That boundary wobbled. Reinforce it. Corrections done quickly and kindly turn months of detour into minutes of course. Change pilots do this without tears. So can you. The future self you're reflecting is not a static portrait, it evolves. Each reflection invites a finer one. Each milestone reveals a new threshold. The mirror is infinite in its capacity to return what you refine. You won't arrive so much as continually align. And that is the beauty. Co-creation as a living conversation. The mirror does not only return objects, it returns people. Often the characters who arrive are costumes for your lessons. The generous friend mirrors your dormant generosity. The impatient boss mirrors the parts of you that still insult your own pace. The partner who listens like a sanctuary mirrors the way you've started listening to your inner voice without cross. Examining it, this isn't blame, it's literacy. Relationship literacy is the art of reading the cast without turning the movie into a courtroom. You can say, "Thank you for showing me my boundary. Thank you for reminding me of my standard. Thank you for reflecting a kindness I used to refuse." And then you can choose stay, deepen, or release. Love is not the same as access. Respect is not the same as proximity. The mirror will keep sending you people size to your standards. Edit the standards, and the cast changes. If someone repeatedly dishonors your peace, it may not be your job to teach them music. It may be your job to leave the room where your favorite song is interrupted every time it begins. The mirror rewards clean exits with clean arrivals. Cluttered exits drag scenes into new chapters that deserved a fresh page. Value is a signal before it's a salary. Many chase numbers while insulting their own worth in private. The mirror hears the private part. It hears you apologize for existing in emails you over. Explain. It hears you discount your time in negotiations you enter already bent. It hears the way you call your craft a little thing. The world pays in the currency you price yourself with. This isn't about arrogance or pretending to be what you are not. It's about accurate pricing rooted in truth. Accuracy is humble. It knows the hours it took to be this calm under pressure. It knows the books you read instead of sleeping. It knows the failures that taught you how to carry fire in public without setting the room on panic. Accuracy doesn't flinch when it says the number. It knows the mirror prefers math to mythology. Wealth responds to stewardship. If you treat small money with contempt, large money will pass your door like a polite guest who reads the room and keeps walking. If you treat small money with respect, clarity, order, kindness, larger sums will feel safe to live with you. Safety is the secret preference of blessings people claim to want. They want to go where they will be held, not worshipped or wasted. Work becomes worship when it stops begging to be meaningful and starts being done with meaning. Meaning is how you hold the task. Meaning is the tone with which you say, "This draft deserves patience." Meaning is the decision to stop selling panic as productivity and start selling results anchored in rhythm. Rhythm is the cousin of trust. Clients hire trust. Your body is a listener. It listens when you call it a problem. It listens when you thank it for carrying you through storms it never advertised. It listens when you narrate doom into your mornings. The mirror does not end at your skin. Your cells hold mirrors of their own. When your story tells them, "We are safe enough to grow," they grow more beautifully. When your story insists, "We are in danger all the time," they move like soldiers instead of gardeners. Treat your body like a partner. Partners don't need you to flatter them. They need you to be honest and kind. Honesty says, "We are tired." Kindness says, "Then we rest and feed." Honesty says, "We ignored the signal." Kindness says, "Then we will not ignore it again." This is not glamorous. It is sacred. Sacred things often look like ordinary things performed with reverence. Identity is the quiet crown you wear whether you remember it or not. When the crown is crooked, when you forget who you are, you bump it on every doorway and blame the doorway. When the crown sits right, rooms stop asking you to crawl. They know better. Not because you intimidate, but because you radiate a truth you won't bargain with. A right identity does not need a stage. It creates stages by the way it stands at bus stops. It writes invitations by the way it listens to people. Nobody is auditioning. It builds reputations in rooms where reputations are irrelevant. And then, when invitations arrive, they feel natural, as if the mirror had been waiting for you to look up. Identity is not a brand. Brands are costumes that hope to survive a season. Identity is bone. When you live from bone, trends become interesting but optional. The mirror loves bone. It can hang blessings on it without fear they will slide to the floor. Chasing is the old religion of fear. It says, "Run after what is already running after you, and maybe you will trick the clock." The quantum mirror offers a different sacrament. Become the thing, and watch the things that belong to it find you. This is not passivity. It is precision. Precision asks what the real work is. Often, it is not another email. It is the removal of a belief that makes every email sound like begging. Goodbyes are part of mastery. You will say goodbye to the version of you that apologizes for being prepared. Goodbye to the one who calls chaos my creative process. Goodbye to the calendar that praises busy while starving results. Goodbye to the joke you tell at your own expense to make other people comfortable with your light. Your light will have to become a policy, not a pitch. And when the goodbyes gather into a small pile at your feet, you will feel lighter. Not because life owes you anything, but because you stop carrying what was never yours. The mirror will notice. It always does. So here's the simple, unglamorous truth the headlines won't print. You are not chasing a life. You are refining a signal. The quantum mirror isn't personal, but it is precise. It reflects whatever you stabilize, fear or faith, hurry or timing, performance or presence, scarcity or stewardship, apology or accuracy. Stand before the mirror with your whole voice, not louder, truer. Let your thoughts become a language your future understands. Let your feelings become a score your day can play without dissonance. Let your beliefs become a home your blessings are happy to live in. And when the reflection begins to change, as it will, don't call it luck. Call it literacy. You learn to read the room that most people never enter, the room inside. You learn to adjust the real instead of arguing with the screen. You learn that reality, like a river, loves a steady shore. One day soon, someone will ask you, how did it all finally shift? You will smile and say, it didn't start out there. It started in here. I stopped chasing. I started reflecting, and the world, faithful as a mirror, returned the picture I decided to hold. Hold it, keep holding. The rest will follow.